This is a special edition of the Mike Gallagher Show, Coronavirus in America.
We're using the full power of the federal government to defeat the virus, and that's what we've been doing.
For a while, life is not going to be the way it used to be in the United States.
As we face this national emergency pandemic, now's the time for knowledge and clarity. And this is the place to get it.
We're going into a full crisis footing. This is a wartime dynamic. We have to think about helping each other in different ways.
The president made very decisive decisions quickly.
2020 is definitely going to be one for the history books. And as we take it all in, we know that we'll get through this together. We're America. And now, here's Mike.
We're doing our best to get through this together as Americans. We are in the final days of April, the waning days of April, just a few days left. Before you know it, it'll be May. We are sort of losing a sense of time. Many people don't know what day of the week it is. I got a lot of friends who are sleeping during the day. They are up all night. This is a slog. This is one of the toughest things we've ever been through together, collectively as Americans. Over 54,000 deaths here in the United States, 965,000 confirmed. The good news is it is slowing, especially out of New York. Outside of New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, don't forget the tri-state region of New York has about 40% of all the cases in the country. You take out the densely populated Northeast, you have a different picture, and you're starting to hear a dialogue that is decidedly different than the one we've been hearing for the last few weeks. Now it's all about the where, wet, what, when, what is it? Where, wet, when, high, what am I missing? Where, who, what, where, when, why, and how we open. The who, what, where, when, why, and how we open. And it's a conversation that is getting louder and louder. It's not just a few hundred protesters. It's in the editorial pages of the New York Times. It's not just, 100 people or 400 people or 800 people in Wisconsin or Michigan. It's the general tone that is starting to pivot. And it's frightening. Our reality is a little frightening because I think in a perfect world we had hoped for a happy ending that involved the total eradication of COVID-19 in the next few weeks or months. That is not going to happen. It doesn't seem like there is any indicator that we are going to be COVID-19 free. This virus is going to be out there. We know it. It's a little unnerving. We have to have a bit of a steely resolve. We must protect our vulnerable. But we are going to have to figure out a way to start opening this country back up again in a responsible way. I don't know what that looks like. I have a lot of confidence in Deborah Birx. Maybe you don't. I know Fauci has become a little polarizing, but I have some confidence in her, and she is trying to give good news, but she is giving some good news with her belief that the deaths from COVID-19 will dramatically decrease by the end of May. Now, the White House guidance suggests that states like Georgia and Florida and Ohio and all the rest of them see 2 weeks of decline in new infections, in hospitalizations, deaths. 2 solid weeks. That curve has got to go down before a state like Georgia reopens. Make no mistake, the decision to open Friday, and incidentally, I was all set. I had grand ambitions. I was going to get in the car here in the Tampa Bay area and drive north, go across the border, and see if I could find a place to get a haircut. I chickened out, but I only chickened out because it was storming here in Tampa real ferociously on Friday and even a little bit Saturday. And I thought, I don't want to, with my luck, I'm going to try to escape COVID-19. I'm going to wind up in a drainage ditch somewhere. So I decided not to brave the storms, and I stayed home. Had a quiet weekend in home. It just looks like every day is quiet. The only excitement I get is this radio show. And boy, is it exciting. We got some good things coming. We got some good things we're going to do together. May's going to be a good month for Team Gallagher. We're going to make a world of difference in some people's lives because that's what you do. That's the kind of people that listen to this show. And so the fact is, some of these states that are starting to crack the door open, at least from the White House guidance perspective, it's too soon. According to Deborah Birx, 4 weeks. 4 weeks, 4.5, what is this? This is April the 27th. We got a few more days, and then we got the month of May. And I don't know if people can hold on one more month. I'm very, very mindful. That's my inclination, but it's easy for me to say it. I got a paycheck. I'm not trying to figure out how I'm going to find my next meal. I'm not worried about how I'm going to pay rent. And every time I come into work and every time I sit in front of this microphone, I think about people listening to my show who are anxiety-filled and fearful and not sure where their next meal is going to come from. You look at these food bank lines, they go miles and miles and miles everywhere in the country, here in Florida, all different parts of the country. So I don't know if we can hold on for another month. But Dr. Deborah Birx was pretty firm, pretty clear in her prediction. Here she is on Waters World with Jessie Waters on the Fox News channel, courtesy of Grabien.
We believe that both the hospitalizations, the ICU need, and frankly, the number of people who have succumbed to this disease will be dramatically decreased by the end of May.
End of May, little over 4 weeks from now, seems to be sort of what they are all honing in on. 2 to 4 weeks more. Can we hang on until states like Texas, states like Florida, states like Georgia, states all over the place, can we hang on 2 to 4 more weeks? I really don't know the answer to that. I'm going to ask you for it, though, because I'll bet you do. I'll bet you have it in your gut. Listen, I'm as lost at this. They have moved the goalposts so many times. I know that the reason for an entire national lockdown, a worldwide lockdown for that matter, was to give the health workers the tools they needed to make sure they were ready. Well, they appear to have the tools they needed. So what does that mean? Now, do we reopen or do we keep waiting? I got a lot of questions, not a lot of answers. One answer I know is that I've got the smartest audience in the world, so I'm inviting you to jump on board and join me. Let's start right there. 2 to 4 more weeks, mid to end of May. Can we hang on that much longer in the state we're in now, in quarantine, in the safer at home guidelines, the masks when we're out in public, the social distancing? Can we hold on 2 to 4 more weeks, or is that unreasonable? And again, I say that very mindful about how easy it is for me to wonder about that since I have a job.